To the Coffee Break Show. Today is going to be a transformational day. Today we have Matt Shoup with us, and we're going to be talking about how to transform your business by communicating in a way that makes everybody on the same page. So we'll be right back in about 15 seconds. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is the Coffee Break Show. Matt, welcome to the show today. I am wicked excited that you're here today.
Vickie, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to meet another Colorado entrepreneur and hang out with you today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, before we start, I just want to let everybody know right now a little bit about you because you have done some amazing things. Okay, so Matt's been featured in a boatload of publications like Inc. and Entrepreneur and BBC and Fox Small Business, on the Huffington Post, US News, World Report, blah, 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 and it keeps going on. So in fact, Inc. magazine named him one of the United States' top small workplaces. So he's founded 6 successful companies and grown them all from the ground floor up. And I think one of his companies has done over like 30 million in business now. And what's really cool about all of this, what's really awesome about it all, is that he's done all this while he traveled the world, and he got his black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he's also raised a family doing all of this. And right away, doesn't that make you want to know how he did all of that? Welcome to the show, my friend. I'm so excited to be unpacking this with you. And I just want to start. What you have a couple of new books out right now. You have 2 books, and I got to tell you, both titles are appealing to me. And the communication book, that is the
Painted Baby. Yeah,
Painted Baby.
that's the new one.
That's the one I'm reading right now. And I'm so excited about it because inside of it, we're talking about a new type of entrepreneur that is definitely rising to the top of the planet.
Yeah.
And you are definitely in that category where we are talking about business, not just from profit, but people, planet, and profits. And to me, the philanthropy part of it, that is giving back, etc. And it's the mindset and communication of these values that I want to talk about today. But first, how did you get into this? How did it all happen? How did it all start?
The very first, the beginning origin story is I'm 10 years old and we move from northern New Jersey to northern Colorado. And this was the first time I remember just wanting something of a decent amount of value of money. $200 boombox, right? The big CD player you carry on the shoulder,
that.
12D batteries.
Now.
Yeah, but it was like CDs were replacing cassette tapes, right? This is back in early 90s. And I said, Mom, Dad, give me $200 for a CD player. They're like, nope, you go find a way to make your own money. You cut the grass, $4 a week. And, that's 50 weeks. I did the math. I go, well, I want it to happen faster. Took the lawnmower, knocked on doors, and I made a couple $1,000s at 10 years old. And leading up to that, I was very, very bullied growing up. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I got picked on. I was an easy target, big buck teeth, headgear, the whole 9 yards. But when I got into the business space, I was rewarded from my work. I was able to find some certainty, some purpose, some validation that I'd really never received. And I became like a different person in this space. And it's like, hey, 10 years old, set a goal. You want something, you can go get whatever you want. And that turned into snow shoveling, candy peddling. And the serious truth is that the kids I grew up with, they're dead, they're in prison, they disappeared, or they got disappeared. 2 different things. So that would have been the track that I would have been on. So just the fact that we moved to Colorado, we've got this new life, business becomes my thing. Fast forward 10 years, I'm Colorado State University, 20 years old, get approached by a college painting company. And they said, hey, do you love business, marketing, sales, want to make a bunch of money? You can use our resources and our training. I said, of course. So I worked 4 years with them and made like 6 figures painting houses in college. And I only share that number because I spent more than I made. Graduate, marry my college sweetheart, but I'm 6 figures in debt. And
Yeah.
that college painting thing, it's not sexy, Vickie. Like, it's the painting business. It's dirty. It's trade work. It's blue collar. I'm going to go be a successful mortgage banker with a nice suit and a tie. And I hated it. Absolutely hated
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So similar. It's such an interesting thing that is there, because I know you went to CSU, and
Mm-hmm.
I did some time at CU Boulder as well. And I got the degree in accounting. I know,
Uh-huh.
but on this playing field, we're going to be
Right.
friends right
We're
now.
friends, not
And then
rivals. No, I love to see
when
you.
the
I love to
football
see you.
game happens, then we could be,
Then we're doing jujitsu, right?
yeah. So anyway, I got the degree in accounting, went to work for an accounting firm, absolutely hated it,
Mhm.
hated it. And this is such an interesting thing, because it's almost like you learned your entrepreneurship innocently. They told you, go make money, and nobody said you couldn't make money. They just said,
No.
go make money. And you were like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And with
Yeah.
that attitude, how did that carry you into being, 6 businesses later, and traveling all over the world,
Yeah.
and being in every piece of media you could be in, and writing books, and, how did that suddenly get there?
That statement of go find a way to make your own money, it was a figure it out kind of a statement. And in life, leadership, business, marriage, everything, right? Just the people we
Yeah.
relate to on a daily basis, you're going to find obstacles, struggles, challenges. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the people that are able to figure it out, and they have that muscle memory, that action, that accountability of whatever it is, I'm gonna figure it out. That's played out in all aspects of my life. So it was such a great value to have and to move forward with. And especially today in the world, right? Like, I go back and I speak to the colleges, and it seems that every couple of years, the disconnection from reality of what really happens outside of that college space, when the real world hits you in the face,
Yeah.
you've got to work for what's coming to you. And if you don't, no one's going to hand it to you just because you think you deserve it or you should get it or that everybody gets a trophy. You got to work for it, and you have to figure it out. So it's such an amazing quality, that grittiness. And I'm just so happy that I had it. And it really came into play because March of 2005, I'm in this bank job that I hate. New bank president comes in, sets up in his office, and I thought he wanted to meet me, talk about goals. And I was ready to leave on my own terms. And he calls me in. He's sitting at a desk, and I walk in and I put my hand out to shake his hand. And he does this, leans back in the desk, cinches up his tie. And I said, "Hey, I'm Matt. Nice to meet you." His response: "Get all your shit, put it in a box, get out. You're fired. Get out of the bank."
Whoa.
And I, take a minute, clarify what he says. "I didn't stutter, did I? Get all your shit and get out. Maybe you should go back and do that painting thing." So real condescending, very inhuman. And I go, "Fine, I'll
So
go get all my stuff."
arrogant.
Yeah, arrogant. Thank you, dude.
What a
Yeah,
jerk.
he was. And I was pissed, right? Because, like, growing up and getting bullied and not receiving
Yeah.
the validation that I should have from the people that I thought I should have had it from, I'm angry and I have a lot to prove. And now this guy tells me this, you know what? I'm going to go do this painting thing, and I'm going to make more money than you. I'm going to become a millionaire. And that was the drive. Like, I landed these articles, wrote these books, built these businesses, being really pissed off for about 6 or 7 years. And that
Mhm.
it only takes you so far, and you've got to turn anger into appreciation and view things a different way, and your business will never grow past where you are personally. So i'll
Beautiful.
talk i'll talk more about that. I'm standing in the parking lot and I'm still upset, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have to work for this guy. Never wearing a tie again. I got to go home and have an answer for my wife. So I have a 12-minute drive home. I called the painters. "Hey, 30 days, get ready, we're going to paint houses." And I never had this, "Oh, I'm going back to this unsexy business." It was like, I got to figure it out. This is all I know how to do. I need $2,800 in 28 days. Go do a couple paint jobs. And then that turned into $500,000 in top line revenue in 9 months. We end the year, Emily and I, going, huh, you can really build a business doing something that's trade work. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy.
It's not
And
a sexy business, but it
let's
is
do it.
a stable business.
Well, and for entrepreneurs that are looking for a market to plug into, painting's very, very fragmented. And there's this stereotypical painter in a truck, right? It's a guy in a truck who maybe knows how to paint well, maybe not, but he's so proud of the paint work that he does, and he's dirty and he scares the wife, might steal the purse, don't leave your kids with him. Um, and he doesn't know anything about business, doesn't care to. So there's this space and this void that we were able to fill the industry. I'm a bad painter, stink, and I suck at painting, and I don't like it, but I'm an entrepreneur. Our business exists, and it took us a long time to figure this out, to inspire leaders, enhance the community, and impact lives. We just happen to paint, but we view everything through that lens, and we are business
Yeah,
owners and business leaders first. And the product is just like people are having an experience of making their life better when we paint their house.
totally,
And when we were
totally.
able to figure that out, you're not competing against anybody because you
Mhm.
have such a unique place in that niche.
God, that what you just said was so important, and I wanna go back to that because whatever business you do, if you lead with that intention, if you lead with that kind of foundation, if you will, in the leadership area of no matter what you do, yeah, I don't care. No matter what you do, your business has an impact. And what
Yeah.
kind of impact do you want to have? And to me, there is a difference in your mindset. And one is you describe the painter as just, let's get the job done and, let's just do this. And somebody who's actually this is my business. I have an impact on the way they feel about
Yeah.
your house, about your home, your reputation. I think that is the difference between somebody who's starting a business because they want to be an entrepreneur and somebody who's just trying to make some money over here so they can pay
Yeah.
their bills. And
Hmm.
that there's so many people out there, Matt, that start a business to solve a problem versus start a business to make an impact. Those people
Yeah.
who start a business to solve a problem and it's their problem, then
Mhm.
what ends up happening is they fail. If you start a business to solve the problem that's outside, you're probably more likely to succeed in that. And I
Yeah.
love what you just said because
Yeah.
and what brought you to that mindset and how
Hmm.
you talked about this transformation. You said
Yeah.
anger only take you so far. And then you have to do this transformation.
Hmm.
Talk about the transformation and what are the three things that you think these kinds of entrepreneurs need to work on so that they can go next level?
Absolutely. And one other thing you said that I'd love to just make a point on is there's these different levels of business. When I got fired from the bank, I wasn't thinking about business ops, strategy,
Yeah.
logistics. It was survival. So you might have a listener right now, somebody watching this go, that's great. That sounds so flowery. Let's make an impact. You got to eat. Like I had to eat. And that's all I was thinking about. Okay, now I can eat, got some food in the belly, paid the mortgage. Okay, let's get into business operations. And that's what I really focused on. So
Beautiful.
because of the upbringing I had, and I'm going to answer these questions with these examples, is this upbringing, I just, my default emotion was anger. I ran betrayal programs. No matter how much faith I put into somebody, they weren't going to work as hard as me, and they were going to turn around and betray me. So I had all these people coming in
Wow.
and out of the business, this revolving door. And we're doing, Vickie, $500,000, 800,000, 1.2, multi-million. So we're $1 million company in 3 years, multi-million in five. And I can't keep anybody around while wrote a book, winning awards, Inc. magazine, right? All of this. So face value things are looking really good, but behind the scenes, it
Yeah.
was a hot mess. And I, as just a man, hadn't explored my story,
Mm.
never jumped into that space where your business will only grow to the degree that you do. Whatever shit you
Yes.
carry, whatever mess you carry, whatever skeletons are in the closet, traumas, that's not just going to park there and stay there. It's going to bleed out into your business and affect those people.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, the moment that it was made really clear to me is, you can tell, and we're both very direct. Like I'm a
Yeah.
D, I'm direct, I'm assertive. I love problems. If there aren't problems, I'll find and make and create problems, and just a big hammer coming in and smashing stuff. So it's hard in business or in even relationship and marriage. People, I'm not approachable. Sometimes I'm way more approachable today, but like I never smiled, never smiled. I was like, you work for me, shut up, do your job, or I fire you. Make profit. Profit matters. That's it. I'm sitting with a coach one day, and he's twice my size. He's a big dude, and he's an ex-military guy, no BS guy. And he goes, Matt, what's your core issue today that I can help with? And all these people are leaving, and I'm getting just more animated, agitated, pissed off. And I go, what is everybody's problem? Why can't they just get it? It's not that hard. And he said, listen, Matt, stop. You're the problem. No one's going to tell you that because everybody's scared of you, but I'm not scared of you. So I'm going to tell you, cut the shit. Like it was that direct, that clear. And I needed that. It was just that big smack across the face. I got called out. So I
Yeah.
talk about this in Painted Baby. When you get called out to that degree, the next step, which is the second C in the 3 C's of changing your story, it's consideration. So I sat there with that. And at first, how did I react? Screw you. I was mad. But then I go, he's right. And I know he's right. So this consideration process involves internalization, just taking in what was told to you. And then you have visualization. Okay, so this plays out for another 5 years. What is the destination? Where do I end up? And is this what I want? And that's not what I wanted. Now, I had no clue on how to tactically get to where I wanted, but I knew this wasn't the location destination I desired. So then third C, you commit to change. So I go through this process, and I literally came back, and it wasn't overnight. It was within a couple of months. I sat down with the team and I said, listen, I've been very wrong with my approach, with my treatment of others, what we've been focusing on. If you focus on the profit, the people will run. When you pour into the people, the profit will come. And I've learned that over the
Beautiful.
years. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Um, and some people stuck around, and some people said, I ain't sticking around. It's too toxic and
Yeah.
volatile of an environment. And I don't blame them for that.
Yeah.
So that was about 2012, 13. And then from there, I dug into my story and my experiences to get rid of the stuff that was only sabotaging me and others and not serving me and others.
And this is the reason why I do business right here. I I have always had a penchant for spirituality and the divine. That's my main thing. But when I started business, I started it because no matter what you do in therapy, no matter what psychic thing you do, when you start a business, the thing that has been blocking you your whole life, that's what shows up first.
Yes.
That thing that shows that if you really wanna break yourself apart, start a business and really be dedicated to it. See that it's like
Hmm.
that business is this tool that helps crack you open in such a way that
Yeah.
you get a good face full of who you actually are. And if you don't
Hmm.
like that, you have the opportunity to change it
Yeah.
while you're getting paid. Not
Yeah.
paying somebody to do it, but while you're getting paid. And to me, that's the thing. It's like if I get to the point where somebody gives me an idea and my first thought is no, I are questioning why is it no? If I can feel fear or if I can feel angst or I know there's something underneath there. They're trigger words for me like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I have this feeling. What does it mean? What am I saying to myself? What am I doing?" And I love that that's what you do. Tell me, how did you have to learn to communicate differently? Because I know when I started, I
Hmm.
would say my number one problem was communicating, not just
Yeah.
communicating to my customer or my product or pitching to an investor or hiring people. Just communication comes in all these areas. And that was
Yeah.
my particular thing. What was yours? And what did you have to change in that way?
Well, a couple of things. I realized that a lot of my pursuit of the business and everything in it was very selfish. It was about me. It was for me. Oh, but it's to raise the wife and the family. Yeah, but it's to try to receive this validation. I mean, I keep coming back to this word of
Yes.
of validation, and yeah, and so I start 6 businesses and I achieve these things, and I
I'm
still
finally
have this.
somebody.
Yeah, and you still have like this, this void and everything there. And because of that, you have to paint this picture of perfection. So I was very old school sales, feature,
Mhm.
benefit, close, pre-close, handle objections, and
Yep.
and that was the conversation I put on this
Yep.
front. And I got really called out at a sales appointment one day, and we'll kind of lead into that, talk about Painted Baby. But one of the biggest tools that I ever discovered was taking a simple disc personality survey in
Yes.
2008. I went
Oh,
to
yeah.
Dave Ramsey, Entre Leadership
Oh,
Seminar. Yeah,
yeah.
and he goes, "Hey, take this. It's part of your homework. Have your spouse take it," because my spouse, my wife, Emily, came, and I get this report back. I'm like, "You're reading my mind. How did you?" I answered 12 questions, and you give me 50 pages of like reading into my soul. And Emily's laughing at mine, and I'm laughing at hers, and I go, "Hey, like human behavior, how and why we behave the way we do." It's like a language, right? So we might all think we're speaking English, but I'm from New York and
Yes.
I'm from Minnesota. And just those little different accents, you can miss the conversation. So I really dove in and dug in. I'm in love with that stuff. I went and got formally certified. And as I started
Yeah.
understanding that, look, I view Vickie, I'm going to view you through my lens, not through yours.
Yeah.
And once I understand my lens, understand yours, I don't need to change mine, but I just need to have the perspective of understanding where you're coming from. So just that's how we communicate, how we observably behave, but then layer that within or on top of or underneath that we live in a world, go to social media, right? Perfect life, perfect wife, perfect vacation.
Oh,
We
yeah.
posture and we paint this picture of perfection when it's like you knew what was going on behind that photo. The house was dirty, the kid was screaming, the rent is late, like whatever it is. So why do we do this in business? And yeah, this call out moment really happened, which led me into sharing my painted baby story for the very first time ever.
Wow. I mean, this is such an incredible conversation. The reason um I like doing this show, because I've spoken on all the stages everywhere, been there, done that, but I never realized how empowering doing an interview is and being an
Yeah.
interviewer, because you get to tap into everybody else's genius
Mhm.
and be with it in such a way. And what you just said, I know that somewhere out there in the audience land today is maybe more than one, maybe hundreds, thousands of the listeners right now are struggling.
Yeah.
And they're struggling with wanting to appear perfect for customers and appear perfect for to attract new business or to give that influence there
Mhm.
without actually communicating with themselves and saying to themselves, this is how it is. Now, in in the um in the book, I want to be talking about the skill sets that you developed that helped you not just change the conversation with yourself, but change what you're doing, how you're doing it, and the why you're doing it. Now, I've asked 3 questions at once,
Mhm.
but,
Yeah.
take your time, answer them all. But I'm so curious as to the process of transformation, because then suddenly you started working at a different level and
Yeah.
being different and feeling different inside
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
achieving more because of it.
Yeah, and it all started for me, and I think it starts with everybody, is there has to be that call out that gets
Mhm.
made, whether it's a
Yeah.
big one, and
Mhm.
there's two ways it can happen. You call yourself out, or somebody or something
Mhm.
else calls you out. And I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but me personally, I might just be driving down the road and I just see a quote on a billboard, or you're reading a book and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
just this one
Yes.
part, it hits you and
Yes.
you've got something going on. It's not this, hey, we're going to sit down and have an intervention with Vickie and all the coffee she's drinking.
That's
We need to
right.
talk to her. It's just a little thing, right? And that hit in the gut of like, huh, that's if this keeps playing out, this is going to have some kind of impact in my life that I don't want. So that's the big, the aha moment. Now, listeners, like, well, what do we do? I'm huge into visioning. So
Me
right now,
too.
drink too much coffee, right? And I probably do. I love coffee.
Me too. I
But if
like
I
that
keep
about you
drinking,
so much.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
away.
no. And then you got, and when you're up here, side note, squirrel here, squirrel moment. You have to come up to the coffee bar, have some Spanish coffee when you're up this way. So,
I was just
uh,
up there last week too. What a
oh
bummer.
well, we'll connect. We'll connect soon. And so when you have this moment of okay, I need to make this change. What does it look like from there? And one of the powerful things is I think we know logically, okay, I drink too much coffee, eat too many cheeseburgers, drink too much Jack Daniels, been there, right? Like the whole thing. You know logically that that's not how it's supposed to work, but you're running these programs and
Yeah.
these patterns, these
Yep.
old songs on the radio, and it might be something somebody says, the way something smells, a sound you hear, and it just pulls you right back to that. So for me, very powerful, vivid visioning, painting a picture of the future. Okay, let's take where I'm at right now, this issue I have that I don't want in my life anymore. Bring this out 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. What does this do for me? Like paint that future in the present, not just for me, but how's it going to affect these other people?
Yeah.
You'll die for your kids, for your family, for your
Yeah.
spouse. So how's this going to affect them? And you put yourself into that, like something you're doing might kill you potentially,
Yeah.
right? What's that going to do? Okay, now flip that. Where do I want to be? Let's paint that picture and just and live in that space and really allow that vision to emotionally override the logicalness, because we get
Yeah.
emotionally hijacked is the problem.
Absolutely.
So I'm going on this journey of I'm trying to be this Matt, not that Matt, but then something swings about
Oh,
and
yeah.
just totally hijacks me, and
Triggers.
I'm reacting versus responding, two
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
different things. And I would say, on paper, X's and O's for listeners that need to know what to do is it's never perfect. Be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you are today. You're gonna fail more and miss the mark more at the beginning than you get it right, and that's totally okay. And know that everybody's on a journey. Having somebody with you, not like the cheesy accountability partner that you read about, but somebody that you can really shoot straight with, that will
Yeah.
be there for you, saying just how are you doing? I'm good. No, 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 no. How are you doing? Really, how are you doing? So those are just some things that helped me. And again, this was in just my personal life, my married life, how we tell stories in business, how that played out, how I did business. I focused so much on the money and just being the business guy, not that, hey, I've got a responsibility to contribute to people's lives. You have a greater duty to make people's lives better. You don't just pay them. If you pay them a paycheck and they do the job, they'll go find another paycheck for another job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
It's interesting, what you just said, because I think one of the things that helped me was having a sense of meaning about my work and providing them a sense of meaning with their work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of times a person can think, oh, painting, that doesn't have a lot of meaning. Well, it does when you're the owner of the home that you park in that driveway and you have to
Yeah.
walk into that home every day, or that office building. The paint is part of the ambiance, and
It
it's
is.
this silent impact behind it. And if you can convey that to the worker or whatever else and give them that sense
Yeah.
of meaning, there is some, like, it's a magic in attitude that happens that makes that small transformation that you're talking about right
Hmm.
there. And I love that it's in anything. And I love that I'm talking to you about that today, because a lot of times when I get somebody on, it's an entrepreneur who's done something really sexy, and it's a sexy topic. It's a
Yeah.
buzzword topic. But
Hmm.
true entrepreneurship is about changing the world, changing yourself, living a life that you love, and becoming somebody that you love and respect, and getting
Yeah.
paid along the way.
Yeah.
And I love that you have this attitude towards it. And the attitude that's towards it has given you, in my opinion, just from off seeing you, first off, you're a Coloradan and you drink coffee. So those two make you really top for me.
It's
And
double thumbs up.
double thumbs up. But at the same time, it's the mentality shift, because when you're bullied so badly and you're angry, or you feel inferior, or you can't smile, or you can't
Yeah.
be present with other people in a nice and happy way,
Mhm.
that's living miserably. And then
Yeah.
transforming that into living a life you love is
Yeah.
exactly what you said. It is going to take some work, and you're not going to bat 1,000 at the beginning of
No.
it. You're just
No.
not. And you know what you want to. And I love the visualization thing. Like, really sit down and visualize the thing. If I keep doing this thing, how's it going to affect all the things that I love, all the
Yeah.
dreams that I want, all the, and you can see how it's going to wreak havoc. And
Hmm.
then flipping that script and visualizing, if you change that habit, how is that going to help? And do that 3, 5, and becoming a person. The second that you catch yourself once, I mean, the first time that you catch yourself that first time, and you're like, "Yay, I didn't do it," or
Yeah.
and then you get a little more belief. The amount of confidence in who you become, and the amount of self love that you acquire on that
Yeah.
journey,
Yeah.
that is the best part, because that's when you become unstoppable. I
Hmm.
mean, really unstoppable. And
Yeah.
for me, it's not about perfection as much as it's about consistency, and
Hmm.
doing that consistent over and over and over again. I remember just recently, I wanted to change my eating habits.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what do you want to change about your eating habits? And my partner, who is just awesome, looked at me and said, that might not be the best thing to say to yourself. I want to go on a diet. How about
Yeah.
I eat like an athlete? And I was like, I can bite into that. I can, how does an
Hmm.
athlete eat? And I started visualizing that. So the first habit I changed is I don't eat sugar. I just don't eat sugar, full stop. And
Do you drink it in your coffee?
not at all. Never have. Not since I was like 14 or 15.
Awesome.
I'm kind of a cream gal, and that's
Okay.
black
Got it.
coffee, cream, and I'm done.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it.
But the thing that was interesting about that shift is,
Mhm.
as you get up to bat, which is the most
Yeah.
important thing, that
Yeah.
getting up to bat, if you swing and a miss, fine. But get back up to bat, because you're going to get a hit
Yep.
later. And then
Mhm.
when you get your first hit, you have a little more of a joy and confidence, and you keep going. So now I want you to talk to the entrepreneurs that are out there right now,
Mhm.
because I think we've been through a really weird time in business. We've been through a pandemic.
Yeah.
We've been through, inflation. We've been through so much going on right now.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody's just got their head above water, and I mean just above water.
Mhm.
And they're looking at their business and they're thinking, what do I need to concentrate on right now so that I can, make that rent, make that payroll, make that. I don't know about you, but I have been at a point where I couldn't make payroll, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's like 5 days before, and you're like, okay, I got to hustle this
Yeah.
through, and you're panicked, and you know what that's like. So
Mhm.
let's say they're there, and let's talk to those people. And what advice would you give them?
Figure it out.
Figure it
Right.
out.
Because and saying that with love, and then diving deeper into that, and you just made this point with the diet versus eating like an athlete. Language and focus matters.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm barely keeping my head above water. Okay. So you're either about to drown and die and suffer and close the doors, or about to pop out of that water. And those are
that's right.
two totally different things. It's towards pattern
Two
and
totally
a
different
way pattern,
attitudes.
right?
Yeah.
Going on a diet. I'm overweight. I'm not healthy. I'm on a diet. You ever hear anybody on a diet? Who's ever happy on a diet? On a
Nobody.
diet. But eating like an athlete, those are two totally different things. When I wanted to make $1 million, it was because I didn't want to be poor. It
Oh,
wasn't because I'm pursuing wealth. So on my best day making $1 million, I'm just less poor because the focus and the language matters. Even if I
wow.
make, 10% of that, made 100 grand, not a million, just a little less wealthy, but it's that
Yeah,
focus, it's that energy, it's that attitude, it's that mindset. So
totally.
that's tip
Totally.
one. Tip two is you really will become the 5 people you spend the most time with. So be very conscious and very careful about that. Third thing, success leaves clues. You don't have to learn everything yourself or the hard way. Get on YouTube and learn anything. Get a college degree on
Yeah,
YouTube now. Go find a
totally.
mentor. You'd be surprised how many. I was so scared to reach out to any successful business. Why would they want to talk to Matt, who's broke and just starting a business? They'd love to talk to you because like we've been there and we get it. So reach out to people, ask for help, especially men. Men don't ask for help. We think we have to figure it out all on our own. We need to be tough,
Yeah.
and we suffer in silence. And it's crazy, and that leads to a lot of unhealthy things. And for me, things took longer than I thought they would take. So just slow down and enjoy the ride. But if you're sitting, just like you said,
Yeah.
what are you going to focus on? You're popping out of that water. You're about to fall underneath it. And just Be careful about the feedback matters, but not all of it, not from everybody. Don't take
Yeah.
advice from don't take financial advice from your broke uncle. He's not
Yeah.
relevant, credible to speak to that topic. So see so many people that listen to advice of others about business. They've never run a business.
That's so
And they
true.
don't have your best interest in mind. They're jealous because you're kicking ass and they want to try to cut you down because you had a bad month, bad quarter, bad COVID. But the fact that everybody's still sitting here after COVID, that tested everybody's patience, resolve, resiliency, creativity, ability to figure it out. And if you're sitting here and you're still here, celebrate that and then go
Yeah.
figure it out. Go figure it out.
Yeah, the go figure
Yeah.
it out is a big
Yeah.
deal. I love that you clarified what they're saying to themselves because I think that's important. And now on the flip side, let's talk to the person who's so comfortable, they've become unconscious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the person who's unconscious in their business,
Yeah.
what do they need to look at, especially if they're just unconscious in it?
Mhm. And I think too, when you say that, you get to this level of complacency where,
Yeah.
what I came from and where I'm at, I'm good to stay here on paper, looks good, 6 businesses, 2 books, but I know I can be better. So you have to ask yourself when you're comparing yourself to the yourself you were 20 years ago, there's this huge gap. So you're going to stay there. No, you owe it to yourself, to your family, to your kids, to your grandkids, to your family's name, to your legacy to be the best version of yourself that you can be
Yeah.
when you leave this earth.
Yeah.
And you're just going to coast. And who are you comparing yourself to? Are you comparing yourself? Well, look how much better I am than the person I was. I'm good. I'm going to ride into the sunset. No, but where are you compared to the person that you can be, that God knows you can be, that other people know you can be, and call bullshit on that because I see people sit in that. That's a
Yeah.
dangerous space,
It is.
dangerous place to be in.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the divine has a way of knocking you off your
Hmm.
lies that you're telling yourself
Yeah.
when that needs
Yeah.
to happen. Let's talk about your book a little bit now. Let's
Yeah.
talk about why you wrote it, and let's talk about what's in it,
Mhm.
and what uh, what mhm, I want to know in the book, because I know when I write a book, I know why I'm writing the book and what's the
Yeah.
one problem that I'm really trying to
Mhm.
solve. And I want to know what that
Yeah.
is for you. And I want you to tell us a little bit about that as
Yeah.
well.
No, I love that I get to share that. I exist personally and professionally to be a beacon of hope and light for entrepreneurs
Okay.
and to help them own and live their business with excellence. I look back at, who was I as an entrepreneur 20 years ago? And, I came from a place where I had to figure it out, didn't have a lot of resources, had a lot of cards stacked up against me. So I meet so many business owners, just the fact that they're a business owner, they've made it. But now they're here in this space and they've come from wherever they've come from, and they don't have tools, they don't have resources, and I'm sitting here like to have the stories and experiences and the lessons that I've learned to not share those. That's a travesty.
Yeah.
You need to share that with other people. So many people poured into me, so that's why I write. If my story, and especially not the success stories, you can go find a million of those, but the failure. I had a paint sprayer blow up on a job site, painted a 9-month-old baby, almost killed it, and I made it right. We fixed the problem, but I'm not going to tell anybody about that. I'm not going to tell that dirty little secret. I'm going to stuff that in the closet, right? And everybody has this dirty little secret in business. So I feel that we live in this space where everybody's painting and projecting this picture of perfection. We know we're not. And the more you do that, the more you post and read and view, it's this dangerous cycle on social media. We get further and further away from being human. So I'm at a sales appointment and about to close a deal. I'm trying to do this shiny marketing brochure, A plus 5 star. Bill throws it aside. This is BS. Tell me about a time you screwed up. Told him about Painted Baby. He goes, I want to know what you do when something's on the line. And I shared how we handled and corrected the situation. Matt, you're the kind of guy I want to do business with, signs the deal. And I leave that engagement like, I thought sales, marketing, relationships, business building was all about putting your best foot forward, and I found that I was over promising, under delivering, and never able to attain level of perfection that I'm never going to attain. So I changed the thesis. It's, hey, maybe just show up as you are, imperfections and all, not who you think the world or your customers or whoever wants you to be because of this flawed image they have on social media, and just be real with people, because that's going to build ultimate trust.
Yeah.
Then that trust is what builds your business. So that's what Painted Baby is all about. I went and collected stories of all different kinds of entrepreneurs that had very interesting Painted Baby moments. I have a 4-time felon who's now a full-time pastor. Had a gentleman who was putting the gun in his mouth, ready to pull the trigger. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take that out. I'm going to call and get help. And now he runs a successful company, building up other people. And I said, what is it about how you changed your story, and how you're sharing these vulnerable moments with the world, and how's that impacting others? And to get to do that all day and drink coffee with really cool people like you,
Thank you.
it's not work. It's
You
just,
know,
it's fun. Yeah.
it's such a cool thing that you said that, because I believe that that's the same thing with any kind of business that you do. And and to be as transparent as possible. And I've told this story before, so I know my listeners, just give me a break and let me say this story again. Anyway, but in the beginning, when people were telling me, we want to take you online and do shows instead of that, there was the live show or the syndicated show. And back a few years ago, it wasn't really popular to, do a live show. It had just come out. It was barely there. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it, because you're going to see all the the ahs, the flaws, and everything
Yeah.
else. And I remember I was so used to speaking on stages. The first time that I went live, I was like, hey, I'm looking for that audience that isn't there. I mean, I just sucked at it so bad. But the decision, I called the guy that I was coaching with at the time, who was coaching me. His name was Joel Comm. And
Mhm.
I
Oh
said,
yeah.
Joel lived on your side of there, but Joel Comm. Um, and I said to him, live or syndicate? And he said, live. It's the thing that's going to be there. And I was like, yes, but I didn't want to go live. They were like, but I want to do syndication because it makes it all pretty. And he says, that's the problem. Nobody will trust you. You want to
Yeah.
go live and just be where you are with them. And I was like, okay. So, I've been doing this for a couple of 5 years here, and,
Yeah.
almost 600 shows, and been everywhere with it. I have coughed on stage. I've actually had an allergic reaction and had to take a drink of coffee. Hang on a second. I'm really
Go for it.
actually. This is the thing right here.
Just as
This,
you're explaining it, it happens. I love it. That was
I
perfect. That
know
was
this
perfect.
is not what happened. What I'm trying to explain. I literally had allergic reaction, and they came from the back of the show to give me some medicine to stop. And I let the show go. I let them see
Yeah.
that. I've cried on the show or whatever it is, but being present with my audience in that live venue where you're just vulnerable and you're just you
Yeah.
helps them see that there aren't really mistakes as much as there's either you're going to be polished and unreal, or real
Yeah.
and polished.
Yeah.
And it's like that authenticity is what makes you polished. Everybody's got that good BS detector. Everyone knows if
Yeah.
you're being
Yeah.
real or not. And when you're on the show, if you're being real or not, boom, it's there. Now, that visualization piece he talked about earlier, you just got to see it in live action. I visualized in my mind the time that this happened. And as it happened, then it started happening here, where I was,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's exactly how powerful that stuff is. That is really
Love it.
there. So, favorite story in your book? Ooh, hard one.
Yes, we talked about communication, and we'll get towards the end of little missed details in communication can totally change the conversation. Didn't talk much about it, but I studied abroad in Spain when I was in college. Fell in love with the country. Thought I was pretty skilled at Spanish. getting over there. Come to find out, all the Spanish I learned in school, they have a different accent, different
Yeah.
words, different don't worry about conjugating the verb this way. They only do that in Spain. Well, guess where I am? I'm in Spain. I need to know how that works.
Yeah.
I'm going in, and I was very uncomfortable over there. You're very much out of your comfort zone, no matter how uncomfortable I was. Could always go to a McDonald's. They had McDonald's in the center plaza, and you walk in, and it's just like you're back at home. So I would always go eat those little 50-cent ice cream cones. And speaking Spanish, the way you order an ice cream cone is you order a cone of ice cream. So it's a cono de helado, cone of ice cream. Spanish has a little squiggly line that goes over the top of the N. It's a different letter. It's not N, it's Nye. So cono, if you change that, becomes a different word. So español has a squiggly. It's not espanol. So I go in, and I'm 19, and I'm still single. Emily said I can share the story. And I walk up, beautiful Spanish girl, about my age. And she says, caballero, dime, sir, tell me, what can I do for you? And I said, I'd love a coño de helado. So I ordered a coño de helado, just a little squiggly, changed the word, and I didn't order an ice cream cone. And I realized this because she steps back, jaw to the floor, face gets red, and she's like, caballero, sir, do you know what you just said? And then as soon as I said it, I was like, oh crap, I ordered an ice cream vagina. And she says that's going to cost more than 50 cents for here to go. And she knew that I wasn't, like, because intention within communication, if I had a different intention, different expression, different approach, maybe that's a pickup line, not a great one. Never tried it, I don't know. But I just made a little fault in the communication, and that little, maybe you're just a little too assertive, a little too aggressive, scare somebody away. Maybe you're over analyzing things, and that's your strength, it's your superpower. But this person, they're direct. They just need the answer. They need it done. They don't necessarily need it done right. So I love that story, and that's in the book. And that actually cues up in the book the whole section on communication, where there's parts of it. It's verbal, it's nonverbal. There's intention, there's a sender, there's a receiver, and you have to understand the dance and how it all plays together. And that's one of my favorite just stories of learning another language and traveling abroad. It always gets a good laugh.
I got to tell you, the more vulnerable or authentic I become over the years, the better I've done in business. And that's really and I know there are a lot of skills out there. Like, you got to learn your closing skills, and you got to learn your marketing skills, and you got to do it. But you have to layer, I think, especially now, everything with that level of authenticity that you're talking about, being willing to own up when you make mistakes, being willing to look stupid to other people, being willing to talk about the big mistake that you made in business, that lost a lot of money or hurt someone, or, it's like it's such a huge thing right now, to be authentic versus to be looked at as perfect. And I think that's a lot to hold up. I mean, for me, it'd be a lot to have to walk around and be as perfect as I could be all the time. I mean, I'm just not ready to be a Kardashian, I suppose. I don't want that.
No, and it's just it's so interesting because we all know that it's fake, but then we're all trying to pursue it. I predict,
Yes.
and I see that, I think where business and entrepreneurship is going is the people, the leaders that are more vulnerable, that are more real, that are stepping into the space, are going to be the ones that win. There's just so much, whether you want to look at politics or anything, it's all, come on, you guys are so full of it. Like, we know that's not the truth, but we still follow these masses, and you're starting to see people break out of that. So this whole book is to encourage and inspire people to do that. It's like, listen, I open the book, the first words, I've got a dirty little secret, and so do you. And we're going to talk about it in this book, but let me go first, because leaders have to go first. And it's amazing when you as the leader go first, it's really interesting what other people do around you, that they've just been waiting to do that. And somebody's got to do it first.
I want to make sure that everybody listening knows that to get a copy of the book, and I suggest everybody does, but I want to warn you, when you get to his site, he's got 2 books, and you're going to want to buy them both. Just do it. I just looked at him and I was like, ooh, I had the title and there's the other one. And you're like, oh, but if you go to Matt Shoup, and I want to spell it for you, .com. So if you're driving, if you're listening on iHeartRadio or Pandora, wherever you are, relax. It's going to be in the show notes. It's on the scroll right now. You can get that painted baby, and he has a blue covered entrepreneurial book.
Mhm.
Please tell me the title of that one as well.
Yeah, become an award-winning company. It is
Thank
a
you.
process and system on how to win business awards and leverage them to get tons of free exposure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
because I saw that one there as well, and I was like, "Oh, yes, I gotta have both." So www.mattshoup, S-H-O-U-P,
Uh-huh.
Shoup.com. And if you go to free tools, there'll be stuff there for you as well.
Yeah.
And so let's say people want to be in touch with you and they want to have you go train their people or train them,
Yeah.
or how can they get a hold of you? Is it through the website as well?
Yeah, everything's on the website. I always suggest the free tools. There's tons of resources there. But then on about every page on the website, if you need to contact me, there's a form, or just email me,
Brilliant.
matt@mattshoup.com, and I'll get
Yeah.
back to you right away. Yeah.
Matt, I got to say, we're getting towards the top of the show and we've talked everything business, but we haven't talked about the one thing that is interesting to me. I want to talk about I know that you learned to make paella like
Yeah.
really, really well, which is one of my
Mhm.
favorite dishes ever. And it takes a long time to make. And
Yeah.
you have a black belt in jujitsu.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this guy developed 6 companies. He's got a family. And so he's got employees and all of that. How do you manage your day in order to get, a black belt? And
Yeah.
how did you manage that?
Yeah. It's funny. It's a 20-year journey, and it's just being consistent, one thing in one day and 1 minute or one block of time at a time. I think entrepreneurs, especially multi-interested or multifaceted, they feel like
Yeah.
they've got just their hairs on fire, they're running around, but very intentional with my
Yeah.
time. I color code my calendar with 30-minute
Me too.
breakdowns, and I put business last. I say, hey, like, I'm waking up and having my time. I'm going to be selfish because I need to be filled so I can pour into other people.
I do
But then
that
I'm
first
having,
too.
yeah, breakfast with the kids, dinner with the family. Now there's travel time, there's exceptions, and then when it's work time, and I'm very focused, very intentional with that. But paella, that took the first time I cooked that, it sucked. The first time I did jujitsu, I had a kid half my age, half my size, just beat the crap out of me. I was tapping out, submitting, getting humiliated, and you're never going to be really good at anything the first time, but it's just little consistent effort. And anything good takes time, but something really, really, really good, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, a beautiful Spanish paella, that can take decades, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So start thinking in decades. That's another huge piece of advice. We're so short-sighted. Any overnight success took about 20 years to get there.
Thank you for that. We are so short-sighted. That's really
Yeah.
true. And the journey, to me, entrepreneurship it's a lifestyle. I mean, it's
Yeah.
something that is a mindset, a lifestyle. Makes my hair stand up when I meet
Yeah.
somebody who also understands it as that. It is not I'm going to get there and it's all great. It's just like a continued lifestyle.
It is, and I'd add one more thing. This just popped in. What's really important to me is, you look at certain speakers, not that it's good, bad, it's just their angle, it's their approach, but they
Yep.
say, you know, pinch every penny, save everything you have, or take every amount of cash and invest and make this fortune. Cool, do that. Leave some stuff for the kids, for the family, but you work so hard. Like, you took so much time to figure this out. You worked on yourself. You got vulnerable. You discovered your story. You're making some money. Go take a vacation. I'm going to go to Spain with my daughter Haley for the Seville Fair. Going to get dressed up and party for like 2.5 weeks. Like, go enjoy the fruits of your labor. I it makes me sad and upset in a lot of things when I see these entrepreneurs. They're just working and working and working, and do you ever get to enjoy any of this? Well, I'm building the legacy. Okay, have you had fun lately? Have you done something you love lately? And do that. Take a little bit of time. It's okay. And create memories with your family. Your kids aren't going to care if you leave them $10 million. I want to leave something for my kids, but I also want them to earn every penny of it. So they're gonna miss time with dad. That's why I'm so careful and conscious about not missing those moments, because you don't get those back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Matt, I think that for me, you represent the entrepreneurial ideal. I mean, that this is something that is it's so cool. It's so important, that entrepreneurial ideal where you are making an impact in the world. And believe it or not, I ask all the other entrepreneurs out there, there's a lot of responsibility that happens when you decide to create jobs for the economy. When you create jobs and all the impact that you've had there. And I love that every morning you start with probably your most devotional time, is what I would say. Is that true?
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I
The
start that.
whole entrepreneurial martyrdom syndrome, where they wake up and just get to work, and I'm doing everything for everybody else and can't be selfish, right? Because there's maybe you get laid the
Yeah.
Christianese speak about serving others. It's like
Mhm.
you can't serve anybody if you're empty. So
That's right.
be selfish, ask for things, not in a selfish way, but fill your tank so it's overflowing, so you can pour into other people. And we forget about that sometimes, or we hear the right message the wrong way, or it's communicated in a way to where we think we just need to bleed ourselves dry and just be just laid out on the mat with nothing left to give. And I see that burnout. I see that approach,
Yeah.
and I've been there, I've done that, and it's not healthy, it's not helpful, it doesn't work.
One of the great things that I have in my life, I think that the foundational piece that I have in my life is that every single morning for at least 30 minutes, usually an hour or longer, that fellowship, devotional time, and the study. I study that every single morning with my spouse. I mean, every single morning. That is the intention right there is laid into me is so deeply that it makes the rest of the day smooth. Because I remember I'm not the one in charge all the time, and sometimes I need to listen more starting the day, and it helps me be more understanding and kind and generous. I got to say, I've loved having you on the show today. Absolutely unbelievably, unequivocally, one of my favorite shows I've ever had.
Thank
And
you. Thank
the
you.
thing I like about it, Matt, is the book is real, you're real. And inside of that is this simplicity of the method that you use that I just feel is so important. If you're out there listening right now, go get those books right now. You can go click www.matt, common spelling, MATT, and it's Shoup, but it's spelled SHOUP.com. Go get both of those books and read them now. And if you want to get a hold of Matt, he gave you those ideas. You can hit the contact form right on the website and speak to him and let him figure out how he can help you and vice versa. And I want you to know, this is the Coffee Break Show. Every single week, I have the best experts from around the world on this show to help you with your business, family, and life. And today, Matt covered them all. Next week, we're going to have a fabulous guest as well. And I want you to know that I can't wait to see you next week. All right, you guys. See you later. Bye, Matt.
Bye.